as an entrepreneur working with clients globally. I frequently travel to various countries across the world. My recent destination was Brazil, a location that held a special place in my heart, not only for business but also for enjoyment purposes. Due to the fact that Brazil was my preferred tourist destination, I had high expectations for this trip. Thankfully, upon arrival, both the country and my clients welcomed me with great hospitality, making the journey quite enjoyable. After spending about a week there, conducting business and occasionally socializing, I prepared to return to my homeland, satisfied with the overall experience. However, little did I know that my sense of contentment would be short-lived. On my return journey, I took a flight back to Los Angeles. The departure from the airport was smooth and timely as the aircraft embarked on its journey to the U.S. The airplane, typically a background presence during my work reflections, felt different this time. Beyond the usual hum of engines, an unusual tension lingered in the air and something did not feel quite right. As I sat engrossed in reviewing contracts, the captain's voice suddenly cut through the ambient noise of the aircraft. He revealed an unexpected obstacle in our journey, the turbulent weather conditions, making it difficult for the plane to go further. The announcement conveyed that we would be making an emergency landing at São Paulo International Airport and would experience a delay until the weather improved. Upon hearing this, a wave of disappointment spread through the cabin. Sighs and restless shuffling from impatient passengers filled the air. Amidst the discontent, a sudden urge to embrace spontaneity welled up within me. Instead of succumbing to the prevailing frustration, I decided to turn this unexpected pause into a chance for exploration. Little did I know that this seemingly simple choice was about to plunge me into an unforeseen nightmare. Upon landing in São Paulo, I eagerly stepped out of the airport with my handbag, ready to explore the city. The streets pulsed with vibrant energy, filled with bustling markets and the enticing aroma of exotic foods. Lost in the captivating sights and sounds, I did not realize that 2 hours had slipped away. While wandering and shopping, I received a message from my team member, informing me that the flight was departing in 30 minutes. Focused on time, I quickly concluded my shopping spree and rushed back to the airport. Believing the weather had improved, I walked across the road opposite the airport. While I was waiting to cross it, a surprising event unfolded. Out of nowhere, a van abruptly stopped next to me on the bustling street. Its doors swung open, and individuals wearing masks emerged, hurrying toward me. Confused and alarmed by the unexpected situation, I stood frozen in shock. Before I could respond, I was forcefully pushed into the van. Realizing that I was being kidnapped, my instinct was to protest and attract attention by making noise, and hoping for assistance. However, before I could act, one of the abductors silenced me by pressing a gun against my forehead, cautioning against such attempts. They then covered my eyes and mouth, securing my hands, while speaking to me in a strange dialect that sounded like Brazilian Portuguese. In a stern, masculine voice, the person warned me against protesting if I wanted to live. Believing that panicking and acting impulsively wouldn't help me survive, I sat silently, pondering where they were taking me and the purpose behind it all. Blindfolded and bound, I was driven through the winding streets, my imagination running wild with terrifying possibilities. After an hour of travel, the vehicle suddenly stopped. The lively noise of the busy road disappeared, replaced by an unsettling silence that surrounded me, making it feel like I had been transported to a distant and deserted place. The kidnappers, speaking in Portuguese, quickly pulled me out of the van, my hands still tied and my eyes and mouth covered. Forcing me to walk, they led me away from the van. Along the way, the sounds of chirping birds and wild animals filled the air. The rough ground beneath my feet and the refreshing scent in the air made me wonder if I had been taken into a forest. After enduring an hour of eerie silence, I heard a sudden creak as if a door had been opened. The sound of a key turning in the lock made me tremble with fear. Reluctantly, I was led inside and forced to sit in a shaky chair. As they took off the blindfold and removed the cloth from my mouth, a chilling realization awaited me. The room was eerily quiet, a layer of dust blanketed the furniture, and cobwebs clung to the walls, revealing the unsettling abandonment of the house. Sitting across from me was an individual wearing a mask, their eyes fixed on me with a scrutinizing gaze. Meanwhile, another person was thoroughly searching through my handbag, their intentions unclear. Feeling a mix of confusion and concern, I spoke up in English, hoping they would understand. "What do you want from me?" I asked. To my surprise, the person in the mask responded, revealing a surprising proficiency in English. It seemed like they weren't Brazilian but a native English speaker like myself. They explained that my identity was crucial for their mission, hinting at a purpose that was yet to be revealed. Confused by the term mission, I asked for clarification to understand my role in their plans. The individual reassured me that they intended no harm to me and that I only had to stay there for a single day. He also warned me against any attempt to escape, stating that its consequences would be bad. Amidst the tense exchange, the individual meticulously searching through my handbag found my passport and identity documents, promptly passing them to the figure seated in the chair. As the person began to go through my personal information, a sinking realization dawned upon me, signaling the gravity of the predicament I was in. I suddenly realized that my identity was at risk of being used for some mysterious and possibly serious crime, making me unwittingly appear as an accomplice to the Brazilian authorities. While contemplating this, the person stood up, sarcastically instructed his associates to look after me, and left the house, taking my passport and ID with him. As he exited, one of his associates pressed a piece of cloth soaked with a liquid against my mouth, causing dizziness to overwhelm me, and leading me to eventually lose consciousness. Upon awakening, I discovered myself on a deserted street in the middle of the night, with no one in sight. My bag, containing all my belongings, was placed beside me, complete with my passport and other documents. It seemed I had been used for some unknown purpose and left alone and disoriented afterward. However, a persistent threat hung over me. I had no idea how my identity was misused, making me reluctant to take any action. After a little contemplation, I decided to visit the police station before they could track me down. As expected, upon my arrival, the searching police apprehended me and brought me in. They alleged my involvement in a major illegal transaction, urging me to confess and reveal details about my accomplices. Fortunately, when I shared my experience with the surprisingly helpful officers, they agreed to conduct a more detailed investigation while keeping me in custody. Luckily, my team, who had cancelled the flight due to their inability to contact me, learned about the accusation and came to my aid. My lawyers were also called from the US, and my criminal records were analyzed. After a thorough one-week investigation, I was proven innocent and released from prison. The authorities, acknowledging their mistake, sincerely apologized for the unexpected hassle I faced upon arriving in their country. They inquired about the criminals I encountered and the location where I was held captive. Satisfied with my responses, they graciously released me from their custody. Due to a significant delay, I suffered substantial losses in my business. My schedules were disrupted, and crucial trips to Japan and India, vital for the business, were adversely affected by my unavailability. While I acknowledge that it wasn't the fault of the authorities, what began as a promising business trip turned into one of the most unpleasant experiences of my life. The initially gratifying journey transformed into a harrowing account of disappointment, serving as a stark reminder that satisfaction can swiftly turn into dismay. Reflecting on this experience, I can't help but feel a sense of letdown, considering how my eagerly anticipated visit was overshadowed by unforeseen circumstances. Nevertheless, I chose not to terminate any contracts with my clients there, as I believed in their sincerity and dedication. Yet, I had to put in a lot of extra effort to make up for the losses I experienced during that period.